What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cinema Royale on Sunday afternoon, or since we're not doing this live right now, whenever you happen to be watching. What's going on, man?
whenever
What's
you
up,
whenever
Travis?
you're listening or watching to it. What's up, man? Not much. If you don't know, I'm Travis Hobson. That's John Nolan. We are the Punch Drunk Critics, and this
Hmm.
is Cinema Royale. Oh, cat just freaked me out. Anyway, not much is going on, man. It's been another busy week. A lot of stuff. Last 2 weeks, man, with movies back in theaters, it's been
Hmm.
super busy. Um, a lot of people asking questions about the movies that are out. Tenet, of course, getting a lot of people's attention, but also Mulan, which is out on Disney Plus now. And that one I'm probably hearing more about because people don't want to pay that $29.99, or they're making it seem like the $29.99 is some burden.
Yeah.
Um, I get it. I get the. I'm not saying that it's not a financial burden. Trust me, as a film critic, I don't make no money. I know $30 can be a burden,
Right.
but it's you know these people would pay that much if they went to the theaters to see it, which they would do. They would go
Yeah.
to the theaters to see it. Now, then again, the people that are asking about it are the people that would probably go to a screening of it and would never pay for it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Anyway, I don't think they're used to it. I think they're so used. I never really thought about this little tiny segment of the movie going audience that never pays for anything. They just go to screenings. And what have they been doing for the last 7 months? And now,
Yeah.
and now they actually pay something, and they're all whining about it.
I mean, I've always thought there should be a movie. They should get their own movie about them. I mean, this at least here locally, there's the DC Film
I've always
Society
said
is
there
one of
needs to
them.
be a documentary about people who just go to screenings because those
Yeah.
people line up sometimes early in the morning for a screening that happens at 7:30 at night.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty wild. It's always the same group of people,
Yeah.
and
There's a whole social
Christ,
hierarchy to it. It's
sure,
it's crazy, and you might think,
yeah.
oh, well, if you've never been to a free movie screening, it's not like assigned seats. It's not just as easy walking into a free movie. It really is more work than it's worth, for the most part. You have to show up 2 hours early. You have to go in there and sit in seats. You're not guaranteed to get a decent seat. It's always packed. You're standing in lines, and I mean they do this for
But it
like
won't be packed anymore, so you don't have to worry
no,
about that.
no, yeah, it used to be. Moments of a bygone era, I guess. Wow, I didn't even think about that, but yeah. But there's some very unique individuals in there, and these people go out like literally 3 nights a week to free movie screenings. It's crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Hey, we used to have to do that.
oh yeah, we grinded for that was our grinding period. We did that for like 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Now we give late passes to those things. So.
yes,
Uh,
circle of life, how the world turns. So we talked last week a bit about you venturing back out to see Tenet into the theaters. This week, even locally around where I am in Southern Maryland, they started opening at 7 o'clock on Friday. You have the Private Life of is that right? The Private Life of Charles Dickens? No, of Daniel
wow.
Copperfield.
The
David Copperfield.
personal history of David
Woo!
Copperfield.
I was close, but let's be honest. How many of you knew about that movie anyway? And then
I hope a lot of people knew about it. It's actually a pretty fairly, I mean, not a huge movie, but I mean, it's Dev Patel. I mean,
yeah,
it's
well,
a movie
Dev
that was a
Patel
lot of
hasn't
acclaim.
really been, you know, high demand for a few years. I mean, Life of Pi, I guess, was what 4 or 5 years ago. Has he done anything else since then? Not that I remember, at
He
least.
wasn't. He wasn't in that either.
No, what did I say? Life of Pi? Oh yeah, I screwed that up. He wasn't. Okay,
Hey man,
well,
it's okay. It's okay if you can't tell all the
I
brown
knew it was
people
coming.
apart, man.
God damn it! All right, it's been a long time since Slumdog Millionaire.
You get your Suraj Sharmers mixed up with your Dev Patels, and I
Yeah.
get it, man.
Whatever. Let's move
He's
on.
not he's not. There's a brown guy in Tenet too. He's not. It's not Dev Patel. I just want to let you know.
The lead in Tenet's not Death Patel. Oh, it's
No,
Will Smith. Must be Will
the
Smith.
brown guy in Tenet is not Dev Patel.
Will Smith. That's who it is. Oh,
It is.
Lion
It
is
is.
what I
It
was
is.
thinking about,
It is
not Life of
Hamish.
Pi. Lion has a.
It's
Oh,
Hamish Patel. Yeah, it's Hamish Patel, the guy who was in yesterday.
oh,
So yeah, it's him. He's actually really funny in Tenet.
yeah.
He's like the only funny person. He's the only funny person in
Well, did
Tenet.
you get to talk? I mean, we can. Oh, I know we had some. We put a schedule together before the show, and then we just kind of throw it out the window as soon as we start.
Yeah.
But so we can go to Tenet if you want, or we can stick to where we were going to go first.
Well, we were going to talk about Black Panther. I think we should do that, but
Hmm.
but we're already starting talking Tenet, so let's keep going with there, and then we'll move to Black Panther after this.
Sure. Yeah, so Tenet came out this week. I still have not ventured out to a theater to see it. I can't
That's what I was just about to ask you.
can't
Like,
do it.
did you go? Did you go to see it? I'm actually considering going to a drive-in, maybe going to
Well,
see it tonight.
that's what I was
Uh,
going. That's what I was looking for. But believe it or not, well, I guess it's easy to believe. The only drive-in theaters within, let's say, an hour of me were sold out by the time I looked at like noon on Wednesday, I think it was.
yeah,
And I don't know how familiar you are with Southern Maryland. I love Southern Maryland, born and raised here. Don't get me wrong, but these folks, the type that show up at the movie theater with no shoes on, they got their pajamas and their dirty blanket from home, and I'm not going to that movie theater, no, to sit. And I'm sorry, good
they
people,
got
but
that one in DC though, right? They got that one in DC. How far is that from you?
the drive-in,
Yeah,
I don't know if it was so I looked at four different drive-ins and they were all sold out. I didn't even think understand how
I
drive-ins got sold out.
I mean, because people hey, look, people only have a couple of options to go to the movies, right? So
Yeah.
you either want to go sit in the theater and see it, or you don't. If you don't want to
Mhm.
see it in the theater, then you got to go to a drive-in.
Yeah,
And
now.
drive-ins are super popular right now, and they're popping up everywhere too. Because now there's suddenly like one or two of them around me, like, and I'm like, they weren't
Yeah.
there before. Obviously, as a film critic, we would know if there were drive-ins right by us,
Yeah,
and there have not been drive-ins by me, and now all of a sudden there are. So people are I assume I'm really anxious. I didn't look at the box office today to see what Tenet did.
it made a
I
hundred
didn't.
million worldwide. I know that.
Yeah, well, it already had like 40 or 50 million before it even came out here.
Right.
Um, so I guess it's doing okay domestically. But
We're pretty stupid for not getting to this drive-in thing now that I think about it, because it's insanely cheap to start. I mean, obviously you have to pay for the licensing for the movies. You have to know who to call for that, but we know who to call for that. You can get one of those inflatable screens for like $500, the huge size ones you can put outside your pool. That's what they're
yeah,
using, and then a $2,000 projector, and the thing that costs the most money in a regular movie theater is the sound system, obviously. But drive-in, you don't have to worry about that. You buy a small radio transmitter, and the guy that lives down the street from me has one when he does his dancing lights at Christmas time. So that can't be that expensive. It's amazing.
yeah.
More aren't popping up, really.
Well, you'd also have to find the space, like the rentals. You have to rent the space for it too.
Oh yeah,
That would
yeah. I
be
guess that'll be it.
probably where your biggest costs are going to come.
Shit. Again,
Um,
Southern Maryland, where I am, there's plenty of acres everywhere. You just got to watch out for those cow pies. That's all.
yeah. So you were going to ask me a question about Tenet. I don't remember what it was.
Well, first of all, I was going to ask if if you were really able to talk about it last week. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank. I don't think you
We
gave
didn't
the
really
full
talk
review.
about it. I mean, I think because we were going to save it for this week because this week it came out.
Right.
But last week I had talked to Nolan and John David Washington.
So
Um,
is there a way to
no,
explain how
no,
it works
no,
without
no,
spoiling it? No.
no, no.
Is there any just all right? Let's play yes or no. Does it have something to do with mirror images, like dimensions, different mirror image dimensions?
I mean, well, look, the gist of it is not a secret, right? Okay,
Right.
so basically, what you have is John with David Washington playing a CIA agent who is recruited to stop a deadly weapon from being unleashed, and the weapon basically involves um, weaponry that has been inverted through time. So whereas we are moving forward in time,
Uh huh.
these weaponry is moving backwards through time.
You mean the effect of the weapon is to move things backwards, or the weapon
Well,
itself is
see,
moving
that's the
backwards?
thing. See, it starts off we think it's just like one little thing, like oh, bullets are traveling backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we get it. But of course, this technology applied to on a much larger scale
Mm-hmm.
is where the deadly danger comes in. So you got people, all sorts of things that are inverted, but that's just like the bare minimum of what Christopher Nolan's doing with the whole concept.
Okay. Well, I was
So,
spotting things in some of the posters you guys will see above us right here. One of the things I always spotted, and I for a minute I was almost positive that John David Washington and Robert Pattinson were the same character, because there's a movie poster where he's looking at it and Pattinson's like his mirror image. So it's like, maybe what if they're the same character in different dimensions? But I
Yeah, that's
guess.
referencing a specific scene in the movie. I mean, in a way, I mean, it is dealing with sort of a parallel sort of thing that's going on. Obviously, we're talking
Mhm.
about times moving in different directions, in opposite directions, but there's more to it than that, of course. And you know, I the screening we attended was interesting. You know, it was our first one back in 7 months. There were maybe 5 or 6 of us there. Wasn't many. Weren't
Mhm.
many asked, and weren't many that showed up. So you know, but it was interesting.
Right.
And we all when we all came out, you know, we were all just like confused about it, you know. And I think that's kind of the prevailing opinion with a lot of Christopher Nolan movies
Oh
lately.
yeah.
Like post the Dark Knight Rises, post Dark Knight trilogy, his movies have grown increasingly complex.
I distinctly remember
And I've
coming out of
grown,
Inception and that happening.
yeah,
I was screening of
yeah,
Inception, and you could always tell. You could tell who the people there that were stuck up or full of themselves, because everybody was pretty content with saying, "I'm gonna need to digest this at best," and I'm totally confused. Was the main thing. But the ones that came out, oh no, you don't understand. It's this. But that air of confusion is something that I've only seen Nolan do recently.
yeah. I mean, it's just like, you know, at least with Inception, I pretty much got it.
Mm-hmm.
I think like I got most of it. I didn't necessarily get the ending. Like I didn't get the ending. I
Yeah, the
still don't
top
understand it.
got everybody. Yeah.
Right, I still don't understand the ending, and that's fine. He left us with something to discuss and debate, and that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the way Tenet's going to be. Um, at this point, I kind of take Nolan movies as experiences more than anything else, and that's kind of what Tenet is like. Like it's like when you're watching it, it is probably the biggest movie he's ever done. In fact, I know it's the biggest movie he's ever done in terms of like set pieces, the scale, the
Mm-hmm.
ambition of it. It is a huge movie. Some of the sequences are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's also just sort of it's so big that I don't think it's easy to engage with the story. Like
Okay.
it's not really easy to like find yourself connecting with it because it's just I think it's too big. Like if it fails to be personal in any kind
Mm-hmm.
of way. There's like one attempt to do that, and that's with Elizabeth Debicki's character. She's fantastic as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Big
as
year
a
for her.
It's a really great year for her. This and Burn Orange Heresy, and she'll be playing Princess Di on The Crown coming up.
Oh, I can see that.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, she's red hot right now. Um, she plays a mother whose son is kind of being kept from her by a criminal mastermind played by Kenneth Branagh.
Mm-hmm.
Kenneth Branagh. So she's sort of the heart of the movie. So she gets wrapped up in this whole thing because she's trying to get her son back,
Right.
trying to win her son back. So that's how she gets wrapped into it, and that's Nolan's attempt to kind of bring a little bit of heart and personal stakes to it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's just this really big movie that is like it's kind of untouchable in a sort of way.
Right.
But it's also really exciting. You know, like I said, these movies are experiences. It's a really exciting movie. There's a
Mm-hmm.
great airliner sequence, which he's talked about a lot in like interviews and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, where he gets to smash a jetliner, and it's crazy, crazy looking. The opening theater hall scene, opera hall scene is wild, just for the scope of it. Um, Stuff like that, you know, car chases and things like that, with all the weird sort of inverted stuff that's going on. Yeah, it reminds you of Inception
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways, but it's different. Fight scenes, which are also, you know, not done in terms of normal gravity and logic that we're used to. Those are
That's
interesting too.
that was gonna be a question I asked. Is there anything that's on par with the hallway scene from
Yeah,
Inception that they?
there's a couple scenes like that. John David Washington is a really good fight scene.
Oh yeah.
Fairly early on, and Robert Pattinson's great too. His character's sort of roguish.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Kind of reminds me of Tom Hardy in Inception in
Oh
some
okay.
way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really great role for him. Um, but you just kind of wish the story was a little bit more engaging. I think that's my biggest thing. It's not a very funny movie. There's not much humor at all. It's
Mm-hmm.
really grim and dark, except for when Hamish Patel comes in. He cracks a lot of jokes, but he's only in the movie for about 5 or 10 minutes, so it's kind of disappointing.
Right.
But yeah, it's a movie that I would need to see again, and I would intend to go see it again. I'll probably need to see it 2 or 3 times to fully get an idea of, or at least get an idea in my brain about what he's trying to do.
Right.
Like I don't know what ultimately everybody's going to come up with their own philosophies on it, their own theories on it, and that's just kind of the way Nolan movies are right now. There are people still just debating Interstellar and what it was all about. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, he
Dunkirk was maybe an exception. That was a little bit more mainstream,
right. I
but
mean, he's been quoted as saying, I mean, that that's what he believes films are supposed to be, where you form your own opinion. He doesn't want to tell you what happened to the top at the end of Inception, because each person's
right.
supposed to have their own. I mean, everybody wants to be on the same page, but I think that's kind of the fun of stuff like this. 12 people can watch the same movie and come out with 12 different movies at the end.
Yeah, it was sort of the impression I got when I talked to him too. He makes the movies that he would find entertaining. That's the kind of movies he makes, and yeah, they're gonna go over people's heads, and people are gonna have to figure this stuff out or
Mm-hmm.
figure it out for themselves. It's
So,
kind of like another movie I saw this week. I saw I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is Charlie Kaufman's latest.
mm-hmm.
It's another mind bender, and it's like 2 movies in less than a week where it's like, well, you'll just need to figure it out. Just kind of figure it
Right.
out.
So you tiptoed on something there that I think you're trying to get around, but I'm not gonna let you. Is that your interview with Christopher Nolan when it happened last week? Yeah.
Yeah, it did,
So
and
how?
it was great. I want to thank my friend Wilson Morales of blackfilmandtv.com for allowing me to do that. But they weren't showing the movie in New York, so he had no way of seeing it himself to do
Yeah.
it. So he asked me, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna do it. Because how many chances am I gonna get to talk to Christopher Nolan?
No. Yeah.
He's not gonna come down here to do interviews,
Oh, for sure
um,
not. Yeah.
and he doesn't do that many of them to begin with.
Yeah.
So it was a real honor to be able to talk to him. It was him and John David Washington, and I got to
And
ask a few questions. It was unfortunately a junket interview, which I hate junkets because you
oh.
get you
Oh.
get like 6 minutes. So,
Yeah.
but fortunately, I know how to play the game a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
when I got the 1 minute the 1 minute warning,
Mm-hmm.
I made sure to squeeze in an extra question right there at the very end before she
Yeah.
booted
Pull
me
your
out.
extra 30 seconds out. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
how to play the game. I've been doing this too long, man. So
That's awesome, man. I'm glad that went well.
we did
Um,
go well. They're good to talk to. Christopher Nolan is really kind of poised. He doesn't want to give away too much. John
mhm.
David Washington's clearly having fun being in a movie like this.
Oh
So
yeah.
it was
What's the
good.
point if you're not gonna have fun with it? You know what I mean?
Exactly. I wish I
Um,
had time to ask him like really more detailed questions and kind of you
that's
know
that's the
when you're doing
dagger.
junket. Yeah, when you're doing junkets, you kind of got to stick to the line, and you really
Yeah.
keep it simple because you don't have time for them to give long-winded answers. You don't have
Right.
time for it.
Well, that's
So
the thing that I like the most about a conversation in general is not knowing where it's going to go and get to go down that road, and then who
yeah,
knows where you'll end up. But you don't really get to do those. But still, regardless, that's pretty big, and that's awesome. So,
yeah,
um,
really good.
we were talking earlier in the show about everybody wanting to pay the $30. We've talked before about how it's kind of ridiculous when you think about it that people are complaining about spending $30 on something like Mulan or $20 on Bill and Ted Face the Music when you would easily, even at a matinee, if you go with your significant other and get a single gummy bear while you're there, you're spending $30. But
Yeah,
uh, Disney Plus released Mulan this weekend on their Premier Access option, which is $30 add-on to your regular Disney Plus subscription. And for that, you get unlimited access to Mulan until it comes out for everybody else on December 4th. So you're essentially getting a 3 month early preview for your $30. And I think the kicker there for me really is the watch it as many times as you want. It left kind of a bad taste in my mouth at the beginning of the pandemic when they started doing this, and you spend $25 for a rental that was gone in 2 days. I couldn't really stomach that as much, even though it's still
yeah.
worth it. But this being $30, I'm not gonna lie and say it didn't sting a little bit when I hit that submit button to buy it, but um,
It's
you know
kind of
it.
like 20 years ago when I had DirecTV and I was sick in the house
Mhm.
and I ordered Blue Crush and for like maybe $4.99, maybe $8.99 or something like that, and I watched it
Yeah.
because I was too sick to go get up and go get the remote. I think I
Right.
watched it 8 times in a row. That was money well spent.
Yes, and that's where Travis's Kate
You know,
Bosworth obsession came
you know
from.
how much Kate Bosworth I took in that day.
Oh wow, Blue Crush. That was an awesome. That was a fun
young,
movie.
young Michelle Rodriguez too.
Yeah, Emrod. Yeah. Who? There was a third
Uh,
person in that too, wasn't it?
the third one wasn't famous, and then she didn't go on to be famous either. I don't think. I think she's still active this year. I can't. I
Huh.
couldn't tell you who she is. So
Man, there was a lot of good underwater swimming beach movies. There was that, and Into the Blue was another one, the Jessica Alba
into the
one.
blue.
The trailer had that
Weren't
trademark
weren't
butt
those
shot.
done by the same guy? Were those both done by John Stockwell?
Um, I mean, they feel like they were done by the same guy.
Those might have both been John Stockwell movies. I know at least one of them was.
I need to get a better
Yeah.
laptop. When I run the show, I can't actually do anything else during it.
No.
Um,
I should have.
so so yeah, Mulan came out, and there's been some, I guess you'd say political fallout because the young lady that plays Mulan was supporting the Hong Kong police or something, but I don't really care about that. What I care about is that
Okay, so
Mulan.
John Stockwell. Yep, John Stockwell did Blue Crush and Into the Blue.
Holy, that's he was Cougar in Top Gun. I didn't know that
No,
was the
I
same
didn't
guy.
even. Yeah, I knew he was an actor before this too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did. Those movies had great cinematography. Um,
Oh yeah.
it's funny looking at the other stuff they did too because all of them had great cinematography. Crazy Beautiful, which is still one of my favorite Kirsten Dunst movies.
Oh, is that
Um,
the one with what the dude was
Hernandez, whatever his name
Yeah, Jay
is,
Hernandez. Yep.
Jay
Yeah.
Hernandez. Yeah, I love that movie. He did Dark Tide.
Turistas, which is
Yeah, Turistas. Yeah, he did that Gina Carano joint in the blood, and he
oh,
did Kickboxer. He did Kickboxer Vengeance, which is fucking awesome.
yeah.
So, yeah, John Stockwell underrated, man.
Yeah, really. I would have never even guessed. Hmm, crazy. But
Yeah, I kind of remember that those were both Stockwell movies.
well, I mean, even the posters look eerily similar. He must have had like a surfing phase.
He went through
Um,
a phase. He went through like an ocean phase.
yeah, yeah,
And
definitely. I mean,
I think his best movies were when he was shooting the water. I think he's really good at it. So if I ever wanted to make Blue Crush 3, I think there was actually like a straight to DVD sequel of it. If I wanted to make Blue Crush 3, I'd hire John Stockwell back.
yeah, it's definitely a phase. So he's got Blue Crush, and then the Break, which is another surfing term, Into the Blue.
And Turistas was like on a Caribbean
Yeah,
island.
yeah. It was on
So
in either South America or the Caribbean, and then he's
yeah,
got Dark Tide was the last one he did in
yeah.
2012 of his oceanographic theme. But
Yeah, I think they stopped being rewarding like box office wise.
I, I wish I could show you. Yeah, Dark Tide was definitely his last one. If who would have thought we were gonna have a John Stockwell
Is
retrospective
that
on
Halle
the show? But
Berry? Dark Tide? Is that Dark Tide? Is
yeah,
that Halle
but look,
Berry?
it's I mean it's a horribly photoshopped Halle Berry, but it's literally the same
Remember?
exact cover as Into the Blue and Blue Crush. And then you got
Yeah.
Olivier Martinez there. What happened to that guy? Remember he was gonna be like the next big thing, like right when
Didn't
SWAT came
he?
out and
Did
Unfaithful.
didn't he and Halle Berry date?
Um, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think I
I don't
think
know
they
that for
became a
sure.
couple.
It definitely could have. I mean,
I think they
he's a
became a.
dreamy fella, and she's a dreamy lady.
I feel like they became a couple like after that or something.
I don't know. He must have pissed somebody off because 2000 up to 2004. Um, yeah, 2004. He's in 4 or 5 movies every year, and then after Taking Lives, the Angelina Jolie movie, um, 3 years pass and he does a movie, Blood and Chocolate, and then another 3 years and he does Night and
There you
Day,
go.
and then he's doing voice acting after that. So I don't know what happened to that guy. He must have pissed somebody
Here,
off.
here we go. In January 2011, Barry and Aubrey became involved in a highly publicized custody battle centered primarily on Barry's desire to move with their daughter from Los Angeles, where Barry and Aubrey resided, to France, the home of French actor Olivier Martinez. whom Barry had started dating in 2010 after they met while filming Dark Tide in
Yeah.
South
So it's
Africa.
from that movie.
And you wonder, see, this is what I always tell people when they ask, like, why do people like campaign for roles and stuff like that, like really
Mhm.
like talk about roles all the time,
Yeah.
like the movie they want. Because when you get like a big movie role opposite like somebody hot,
Yeah.
there's a pretty good chance you're gonna end up dating at the end of
Yeah.
it. Happens
Or at a
every time.
minimum,
Like every time, all these
you.
people meet in movies. Like they meet while they're shooting
Yeah.
movies. You
I
think I
mean,
wouldn't
they always can.
fight
Oh
my
God.
ass
Yeah.
off for a for a movie with Halle Berry? It's like, man, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm campaigning like shit.
they always compare it to summer camp. Like, if you're an actor, a big time actor, you're going to every movie is like going to summer camp, and you have your summer camp romances. That's why they never last. But
Yeah,
that stuff
it's
does happen.
because
But
like in camp and like in movies,
mhm.
you're playing a role.
Yeah,
Like if you ever
yeah,
go away to those things, you always reinvent yourself. It's
oh
just
yeah,
you never go there as you are. And when you're in the movies, you're playing as somebody else entirely. That's why
yep,
these never go anywhere.
yeah. There's
Nobody is ever themselves.
no reality inserting itself anywhere. And that's why I like
I don't
Mulan.
know how we got on this subject. I don't know how we got from wherever we were to John Stockwell to who's Halle Berry fucking.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how we got there,
Well,
but
the
we're
funniest
here.
part is I changed the scene earlier, so while we're talking about John Stockwell and Into the Blue, Mulan pictures are just going overhead.
I know we were supposed to be talking about Mulan.
Yeah. So, what did you?
So did you see it?
I
Did
did,
you
I
see it?
did, and I
Okay.
really liked it. Honestly, I mean, it really felt
I think it's my
like
favorite of their movies, of their live action remakes.
definitely like I didn't feel like there were. I thought it was nice how even though they didn't do any of the musical numbers, the musical cues were left in there to like kind of give you that familiarity to it. But yeah, I mean,
You sunk backwards into Doctor Strange's portal back there, like you're like partially in the screen and then partially.
yeah, I really got to get this virtual background thing works well, but I got to get a legit green screen so when I move myself, it
So
doesn't
when you do that, you
disappear.
can knock the screen over.
Exactly, that's what I'm looking for. Bloopers are why we're here, folks. No, but Mulan, I thought it was extremely well done. It's definitely my favorite of their live action remakes thus far. I mean, I'm a huge fan of like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and this has that kind of beauty, and it's got fighting that's more of a brutal dance. I never used to be a fan.
It's a wuxia style. It's the wuxia style of martial art that they're using. I wish they could have gone further with it. Like the
Yeah,
Zhang Wu movies, like House of Flying Daggers
right.
or the Golden Flower, and even the Great Wall, which he did also. No, stuff like that. I wish they could have done a little bit more of it, but
That
what we got was pretty good.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that is something that I didn't really. It's not so jarring that you notice it while you're in there, but now if you sit back and think about it, there was quite a bit more room for fight scenes, to be honest. But and some of the stuff they did like with the witch. I don't know why. One of my favorite things in any of those type movies is when you have the female warrior who's got it's either her hair or her sleeves, and she's like whipping them and grabbing things with them. They pull that off. It was great. I liked it a lot. I didn't see. I'm trying to think of the problems I had with it, and there weren't really too many. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie, but nothing really sticks out. Um, yeah, nothing really sticks out to me as being a negative part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this too. Nikki Caro directed it. She did Whale Rider like 17 years ago, which is one of my all-time favorites. And it's a very similar story about a girl who, um, you know, turns out to be a warrior superior to any man.
Hmm.
Has to make her way on the battlefield. Surrounded by men. Very similar story, and she seems to have a really good knack for these things.
Yeah.
Um, I like this a lot, and it sticks to the 1998. I don't remember when that movie came with the animated version of it.
98.
Okay, 98, cool. It sticks to the story pretty well. They do make some changes. The witch character played by Gong Li. She's not in that. She's not in the animated version, but she's sort of like um, the villain's sidekick character. I can't. I
Hmm.
think his name's. I think her name was Hayabusa. in the cartoon. She's basically that,
Hmm.
just in human form. So that's a bit of a change. Pet dragon Mushu is kind of represented as a phoenix that's kind
Right.
of floating around, a voiceless phoenix. I
Hmm.
could have done without that stuff because I don't think it really added anything.
Hmm.
I don't need this phoenix flying around as some sort of symbol of her destiny. I guess it never really seemed like it was something integral for
Right.
her. It's otherwise pretty grounded for the most part. Um, which is obviously not totally grounded, but but in terms of like being compared to the cartoon version, yeah, it is.
Hmm.
So I like pretty much everything about it. I do wish they could have had a little bit given Mulan herself a little bit more characterization.
Right.
Like I feel like this is a really lean movie. Like it does. There's not a lot of BS to this movie. It's
Yeah.
just it gets through the story really efficiently, and I think there's room to maybe flesh her out a little bit more. We don't learn a whole lot about her other than her bravery and courage.
Yeah.
Like we don't learn much about her personality. We don't get a whole lot of that. But otherwise, man, I love this movie. I love the way it looks. I love the action scenes. I think it tells a really strong, empowering story.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I enjoyed this a lot more, and I'm kind of glad. I'm glad that it didn't have all the musical elements too, because that's the stuff that would take
I
me
think
out
that
of
would have been jarring. It wouldn't have felt right. But you're
it.
right. I
Wouldn't
think
have
this
worked
is
for me.
probably one of the only times I'll see a movie and think, man, they could have taken a little longer to get to the meat of the film. I mean,
Yeah,
you mentioned that there's
it
not a
comes
lot of
along quick.
Mulan. There's very little to build up her and her family's relationship. You get basically one scene of her family telling her that she needs to know her place, and one scene of her kind of protecting her sister, one scene of her getting ready, and then it's done. And you get the scene everybody knows where her father has to accept his war scroll and falls down, and basically it goes from there. But yeah, I mean, just $30, definitely worth it for the family. I mean,
I think it's worth it. Sorry, I'm sitting there messing with my.
no,
Oh,
you're good.
something fell. Okay, there we go. All right, can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I can
Okay,
hear
cool.
you.
All
So
right.
the other thing I did
I
this
just knocked. I
weekend,
just knocked off something off my microphone, but it's fine.
yeah, it wasn't the power plug. It's still working. I can hear you.
No,
Um,
no, powerfully.
the other thing I did this weekend was obviously sit down on Friday night, Saturday morning, and binge the first three episodes of The Boys. Um, before we
They
get into
came
it,
out a day early. Did you see that? They came out a day early.
it came on Thursday. Yeah, I didn't notice
Yeah,
until Friday. But where do
I
you
didn't either.
stand on
Yeah,
release schedules? Like,
yeah.
there's binge watching. They drop them all in one. There's weekly, and then there's what The Boys is doing here, where they drop three episodes and it's one a week after that.
I rather they just drop them all.
Right, right. I
I
mean, it
rather
is
just
nice
drop them.
for it
I
to be
mean, I
forced
used to like
to.
the episodic nature of it, where you can wait a week, wait a week, and wait a week. I don't like
Right.
that anymore. Just give them all to me. Because
Yeah.
if I want to choose to watch them all, I want to be able to. And sometimes
Right.
that's what I want. Um, especially when, especially nowadays, everybody's so busy.
Hmm.
And I know, speaking for me, I times when I can sit down and really binge something are rare.
Right.
So if I want to do it, if I find a day where I can actually sit down and binge something in its entirety, I want to be able to do it.
For sure. Yeah.
Time is weird now. Time is a flat circle, especially these last 7 months. So it's like if I can do something all one time and get it done, I want to do it. I
Yeah.
don't want to have to sit here and wait and be like, well, I don't know when I'm going to be able to watch this next batch of episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, they don't want spoilers out for people, and then also, I mean, from a business perspective, the problem with dropping them all at once is, as soon as people binge that, they're immediately going to start forgetting about your show, and then you have the whole year until your show comes back. Whereas if you release weekly, then you've got their attention from January to August, say, and then you only have a
How
smaller
did they
time for
do
them to get
season
up.
one? I can't
I,
remember. How did they
I
do
can't
season one?
remember for the life of me. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was episodic. I'm almost positive it was because I remember not binging it, and I would have if it was.
I don't know. I could have swore I binged it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But what I do know is nobody
Mhm.
forgot about the boys after season one.
No, nobody forgot about
So
them.
if that was their concern, if they did drop them all and that was their concern, I think
Hmm.
they didn't have anything to worry about because people were really excited for this show to come back. And
Sure.
it's a show that they hype up at Comic-Con in between anyway. Nobody's going to forget it. Nobody's going to
Oh
forget
yeah.
the boys. So, I mean,
Right. I mean,
I wouldn't even worry about that.
yeah. I mean, I certainly didn't forget about it. I've been looking for. I actually finally read through the entire series during the
Oh,
hiatus this time. And man, it just gets so
nice.
messed up. It is
I
messed
read. I
up.
remember reading through that too. I remember kind of getting tired of it around issue 30 or 40.
Hmm.
I started getting tired of it. Um, and then it kind of ended on a whimper for me.
Yeah, I
But
didn't really like how it ended, but yeah.
it got a little convoluted for me. I started not being able to keep up with some of the characters,
Yeah,
I was like, okay,
convoluted
well,
and a little bit too grim. Like you got to have some sunshine in a
yeah,
dark day, you know.
yeah, a little too
Season
much.
one was dropped all at one time. They were all released on July 26th,
Okay,
2019. So,
yeah,
um,
nobody forgot about the boys.
yeah. So we got a new hero this year. We got Stormfront.
Played
She's
by the beautiful Aya Cash,
yes, and disturbing. Depending on
who
what
hopefully
have you watched
our
all 3 episodes?
I haven't watched any of them yet. Hopefully, our friend Cortland will be interviewing Aya Cash very soon
Oh,
uh,
nice,
for the movie Scare Me, which I can't wait to watch.
awesome. But you recall the nature of the character of Stormfront from the books, right?
Yeah, she's the
Um,
fastest. She's the fastest
yeah, she's a straight up Nazi.
among other things.
Or he in
Right.
the
And in
comics,
comics,
but
Stormfront is a guy.
right. So they kind of play with that in the first 3 episodes, and then they kind of tear the lid off of it at the end of the third. But it feels like we're right back to where we are. It's a little grim at the start of this one. I think one of the best things about the first season was Annie and Huey's relationship and how they were going to go through. And now that they've been found out, it just seems kind of grim. I'm sure it'll get back around to it. But I'm really kind of pissed off they didn't release them all at the same time because it was getting real good where they broke it. Like, and I would love to have continued that, upward trend while I watched the rest of the episodes. But um, it's hard to tell where they're going to go fully. But I'll tell you, one person that deserves all the respect that they get, and I didn't fully understand it until I watched the season, was Giancarlo Esposito. Because I never made it through Breaking Bad. Don't ask me how or why. I liked the show. I never made it past season
I
one.
mean, I never made it past episode two. So I mean, it never hooked me.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
So
I
good.
mentioned
It's
everybody
not just
else.
me then. I tried multiple times. It never hooked me. But Giancarlo Esposito, people love him. I mean, he was in The Mandalorian, and he was kind of magnetic in that.
Giancarlo
But
Esposito is the man. He's in everything.
yeah,
He's
he's
he's he's. I almost want to say literally. I mean, obviously it's not true, but it seems like he's in everything because he shows up in everything.
yeah.
He is one of the busiest guys in the world. And it's funny that he's so much busier now. He's been doing this for like 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, remember his early roles with Spike Lee, stuff like that. Um, School Days and stuff like that. I mean, he's been around a long
Right.
time, and all of a sudden he's just everywhere. He's on my list of people that I most want to interview.
He
I'm
seems like he'd
hoping
be
one day I
fun.
get a chance. Ouch! What are you doing?
We've got an
I
attacker.
got a cat clawing my arm.
Oh man, they don't have souls. That's why. I mean, you'd really be scared of them. They'll sleep on your face at night and take your soul.
No, this
Um,
one's sleeping at my feet. It's annoying. My
but
roommate's
yeah,
it's my roommate's cat. My roommate's gone, so now she's latched onto me like a child, and
oh,
it's annoying. But she's my Overwatch partner, so she has to sit there and watch me play Overwatch all day.
well, she's done her duty then.
Yeah.
But yeah, Giancarlo Esposito, he does. I mean, the terror of the first season was obviously Homelander. I mean, you have Superman with no morals, and he knows he can do whatever he wants. And there's a great scene in here. Esposito plays basically the new head of Vought. He's not
Mm-hmm.
really the new head of. He's always been the head, but if anybody
We
remembers
didn't see him
last
until like
season,
the last episode of last season.
right? Because Madeline Stillwell, who was played by Elizabeth Shue, got her brain blown out by Homelander. So There's a great scene where Homelander marches into his office and is going to tell him how it is, and Esposito just flips it around and stands up to this dude in his face and very calmly and very surely just says, "No, you're going to do what I tell you to do. You're not as important as you think you are," and it just sells it. I mean, those are the kind of performances, and then obviously Keith Urban. I don't think they could have. He
Yeah.
doesn't look like Billy Butcher from the comics, but he just is Billy Butcher. I don't think they could have got anybody else to play that role better than him.
Yeah, I mean, the only person I could think could play Billy Butcher better is Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and he's a little bit busy.
Yeah.
So, in
Or
fact, when they were first talking about The Boys, remember The Boys was going to be a movie by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg first,
right.
and then that never happened. So they no, it's going to be. I think it was going to be Adam McKay. It was Adam McKay who wanted to do The Boys as a movie, and it never happened. So Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg turned into a TV series. But I remember thinking Jeffrey Dean Morgan back then would have been great for Billy Butcher.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, I could definitely see it. Or
I think he's got more of the look and like the attitude. Like when I would read him, I would read him like I was thinking of Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
I can see it. Yeah, I can definitely see it. I mean, I love Carl Urban so much in it, and I think I said Keith Urban.
I think he's great.
I did.
Don't get me wrong. I think he's great.
No, but but now I'm looking at. I just pulled up Jeffrey Dean Morgan's headshot. I'm looking at him, thinking of the books, and you're right. He's definitely got that same swagger and I don't give a fuck attitude that you read from Billy Butcher. But I just have so much fun with this show, and as screwed up as it is now. Oddly enough, there are some really screwed up moments in this, but there are also not as many as there were last season by this point. Maybe it's about to get nasty. I think it feels like it is. And not that it can't be good if it doesn't cross any lines, but last season you'd have one of your superheroes getting fingered in his gills right before you had somebody shooting another guy with a baby's laser eyes, and it was just so messed up in such a fun way. There's one really good surprise in the second episode that I definitely didn't see coming.
The funny thing is, for all the over the top stuff that they do in the show, that we were like, wow, I can't believe that this is where it's going. Like, there's stuff in the comics that they won't put in the show.
Oh yeah. There's
stuff that will never make it to air. They'll never put that in there. They won't even write it in there. They won't do it.
Yeah.
So if you think the stuff in this show is rough, go read the comics. The comics have different stuff. And the interesting thing about the comic stuff, it's mostly grotesque on a sexual level.
Yeah.
It's grotesque on a sexual level, not like the violence. They're like, oh yeah, more of that. We'll put that in there.
Yeah.
But the stuff that's too grotesque for TV, they won't. It's mostly of a sexual nature.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that they brought up multiple times during season one when they were doing press for season one is there's a scene in the books where Homelander's basically on top of the city, just letting it go, and they wanted to put that in, and the network was like, no, we can't. There's no way. I mean, there's a whole segment where every year the superheroes go to. I think it's Tourgasm, or it's called something. It's basically hedonism. Herogasm. There you go. And they all go to an island and just engage in all the debauchery that they can. And some of the panels in that section, oh man, you wouldn't believe. But yeah, I'm eagerly anticipating the next season.
You're eagerly anticipating the Herogasm arc of the TV show.
Yes,
you gotta get to it at some point, right? I mean, you think?
I don't know. I don't see them doing it. I mean, I don't know.
They'll do some version of it. Maybe it won't be.
Yeah. Well, they've started to incorporate some of the other teams. I mean, I hate to keep saying in the books, but in the books there's multiple superhero teams all around the country, and we haven't really seen too much of them. But that's one thing they're starting to kick off to in this season. Is some of the other teams. We meet members of one of the other teams at one point. We meet a couple throughout the run of it, and so they're kind of opening the world. And if they're doing that, I don't see why they couldn't go to Herogasm at some point. But
I agree. All right, so we're already at 50 minutes into the hour here. I don't know how the hell we got that far in.
Yeah,
we spent so much time talking about John Stockwell that we've kind of gotten off track.
Right.
So
Well, we did promise that we were going to talk about Black Panther. You know, we didn't want to talk about this last week, obviously out of respect to
yeah,
Chadwick Boseman just passing, and wanted to pay the respect to him. But the question does still linger out there. You know, Black Panther was one of the most well-earning movies ever made when it came out, and obviously a sequel was in the works. What do they
and
do
our
now?
best picture contender.
Yeah, and Best
First
Picture
for
contender. Yeah,
first for
obviously.
Marvel.
Yeah.
First for Marvel.
I mean, it was the pinnacle of what a superhero movie could be for a while on all levels until Endgame came out and showed us a few other things. But Panther's still up there as you know one of the best superhero movies of all time. And now you've lost the star that kind of made it so special. Um, and what do you do? I mean, on one hand, there's precedent set because in the comic books, Black Panther is not a person; it's a mantle passed down from King of Wakanda to King of Wakanda. But um, it's just it's crazy to think of how they're going to have to respectfully transition to show King T'Challa with an off-screen death. You know what I mean? I don't see how they're going to do that.
This is the reason why I wanted to talk about it, because the last few days I've not only received a lot of comments and questions from people,
Mm-hmm.
but I've just seen a lot of debate about what to do. Um, there's some people who believe that you know Black Panther is a role like any other. You can replace the lead actor and keep going like you would James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's a mistake. I don't think you can do that with Black Panther the way you can James Bond.
Right.
Namely because Chadwick Boseman means more to people
Mm-hmm.
in that role than Sean Connery or Roger Moore or anybody else does in James Bond. And I
Right.
know that those actors are iconic in their own way, and they are. And James Bond is certainly iconic. But in terms of like a personal connection, they don't have what Chadwick Boseman had for people
Yeah. I mean,
in playing T'Challa. That's just not the case. So
you've
I
got
think
an
if Marvel wanted to make the worst mistake they could make, they would recast the role of T'Challa and keep it moving. That would
yeah.
be a that would be
That would
a
be a
dumb
huge
mistake, and
mistake, and it'd
I
be
can't believe they would ever do that. But there are people that I saw them last night on Twitch. A lot of people were talking about
mhm.
that's what they should do. Oh, you can't bench them. You need to just go ahead and recast them. I'm like, y'all stupid. Man,
I mean,
should
you've
never.
got there's an entire generation of African American kids that never had a superhero of their own to look at.
Yep,
And when they look at Black Panther, they see Chadwick Boseman. That's
yep,
something you can't just replace and slap another actor in there. It's just it has.
right.
It's honestly, I would say, you know, what the Russo brothers did with Endgame, bringing all of those threads together and landing them as well as they did, was difficult. The choice they have to make here, what they do here next, could be the most difficult choice that Marvel's had to make because you have to move on. The show must go on. You have to be respectful. You have to appreciate what Bozeman himself meant to all these kids in that role and all these people in that role. Not even just kids, you know. I have no
Yeah,
clue what the answer is.
there's no easy answer. So so what are their options? Their options are their options are to have T'Challa's on-screen death or disappearance
hmm
in some kind of way. You don't necessarily have to kill him, but you have to have some sort of explanation for why he is no longer Black Panther.
Right.
So Black Panther is a thing is a mantle that is passed down. So he does not have to be him. It could be
hmm
somebody else in there. In the comics, Shuri becomes Black Panther for a while. She's played by Letitia Wright in the movies. And
Right.
everybody loves her character already. They love her character, so she's ready made
Right.
to be a popular figure in that role. They'll have to do some explaining to get there, though.
Yeah.
They gotta find a way to get there. I've actually come up with for a storyline idea for how they do
Okay.
that.
Shoot.
And I dropped this with people last night, and they seemed to like it, and I think it would work. So everybody sort of believes that Killmonger is he'll be brought back somehow.
hmm
He's too good of a character. He's you know I think there and Michael B. Jordan is too good in that role. You find a way to bring him back, and I think that's pretty easy, considering he took the stuff to become Black Panther. He's probably enhanced. He
Right.
can survive. That can be done. So you bring him back and you put him in the mantle of Black Panther. And I think people would like that. However, we also know who Killmonger is. He can't live up to the mantle of Black Panther.
Mm-mm.
He can't. Not with his philosophy.
Right.
So they put him in there as Black Panther, the role he always wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and he can't live up to the mantle. And Shuri has to be the one to take him down. And that's how she earns the right to become Black Panther at the end of the movie.
I like that. So it's kind of like,
I
I
think
mean,
it's
it's
good story.
in some ways it's kind of a rehash of the first Black Panther. With him getting Black Panther and then having to be defeated to take it up there, but making sure he be the one that steps up. I like the idea. I just because you know what you said, I didn't really consider that he had taken the Black Panther serum or whatever we'll call it. So that's the easy way to bring him back from the dead. I was going to go just with some kind of temporal wormhole from Endgame, the easy route. But so what do you do with T'Challa though? I mean, to
I
have him
don't know.
disappear. I mean, if you had him disappear, that's just an open thread that'll never be closed. You know what I mean? And you can't a hero like that. You can't just say, oh yeah, we found him, but
Yeah.
he didn't make it.
Yeah.
That's
But I
that's the
also
tricky part.
recognize that, and this is something that we learned about just a few days ago, that
Mm-hmm.
that Chadwick Boseman didn't share his diagnosis with anybody at Marvel. He didn't
Right.
share it. He kept it to himself. So they never had any plan for this. Um, Fortunately, I mean, nothing has really happened with Black Panther 2 yet. Like, it has a release date. I can't remember what the date is,
Right.
but but like the script isn't done. They haven't done anything like that. But they were preparing already, so they have like a story idea. Now they got to throw all that out and basically start over.
Right.
Um, so they might not be ready to tell that story about what happens to T'Challa, and
Yeah.
they might not be ready for that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
This would at least give them some time to figure out what that story could be.
You got to
Um,
wonder if what it would have changed if he did share that diagnosis, because you know, as horrible as this is going to sound, Hollywood is business, and these guys are nothing if not cold blooded. There's no way that T'Challa would have survived Endgame if
they
Bozeman
probably
had.
wouldn't have cast it. I
Oh
mean,
well, yeah. I guess
that's just simple truth. That they probably wouldn't have cast him.
I was thinking him
Uh,
sharing it after he'd already been cast. But yeah, obviously
yeah,
if he
but
sent it before, he wouldn't
I think they probably would have recast it at that point. He
have.
wouldn't have because look, he at that point we hadn't seen him. If as long as he hadn't shot the movie yet,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't remember. I don't know the timeline in terms of what exactly when he was diagnosed to when he started shooting. I don't
Right.
think any of us know that exactly. But
Mm-hmm.
if he hadn't shot it, then they almost certainly would have recast it. Would have
Yeah.
recast that role with somebody else, just
Mm.
because it is business, and you got to plan. These things are planned out long term. They probably would have recast them,
Yeah.
and I would totally, you know, support that. You would
Right.
recast them. You would recast them.
Right.
Um,
I was saying more like
if
if
do.
he Black Panther, let's say Black Panther had already come out, and then they're starting to. But I guess they shot Endgame around the same time Black Panther came out. I mean, it was already shot around. Yes, that timeline doesn't work out. Yeah, I'm with you. I was thinking if he had told them after Black Panther came out, when you couldn't reshoot it, but before they were shooting Endgame, but I forgot they shot all that stuff basically at the same time.
Well, I
Captain
mean,
Marvel.
you're forgetting about Infinity War. I mean, they had shot Infinity
Yeah,
War, some of Infinity War. They shot them both back to back, basically.
that's
So
right.
that was a long shoot. But
How the hell did he keep this hidden with all that? That just keeps
I
blowing
don't
my
know.
mind. Like,
I don't
how
know.
could you hide that? It's crazy.
But he thought that he was going to survive up until the day he died. He thought he was going to be ready for Black Panther 2 because
Oh, for
that
sure.
was
Yeah.
supposed to shoot early next year.
Mm-hmm.
Or Black Panther 2 is supposed to shoot early next year. So now they got to scrap all that. We can pretty
Yeah.
much write off their whatever their release date is. Like
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. They're gonna have to take that off the map and
Right.
put that somewhere else and put another movie in there. They'll probably put another movie in that date now, whatever
Yeah.
that date was. They'll probably do that. But
I
Black
mean, I
Panther 2
wonder,
got to be on the
I wonder
shelf
if
for a while.
they'll end up working Namor into it somehow, because that's what they've been talking about forever. Is ever since I think it was in Endgame when Okoye says, "Oh, there's some earthquakes off the coast of Africa
Yeah,
or off the coast of Wakanda," and that's where Namor's supposed to live. So everybody's freaking out about that. But I don't. And it's one of those things Tom will have to tell. Thankfully, they have the smartest people in the business over there, and
yeah.
hopefully the most
So they
respectful.
don't
So.
have a ton of options. So you have Shuri,
Hmm.
you have T'Challa. Maybe
Hmm.
you put M'Baku in there. I guess that would be funny.
Yeah.
Um, but that doesn't seem like it would work either. I don't know, man. But I do know that you can't recast that role. You've got to find a way to move on with
Yeah.
somebody else in Black Panther. Either move on with somebody else in the Black Panther suit, or have Ryan Coogler make a totally different movie with a black character, and
Yeah.
just and I mean, look after look, the one good thing about this is that after Endgame, most of these storylines for these characters have been written and buttoned off.
Yeah.
I mean, so if they decided, you know what, we're gonna respect the, what Chadwick Boseman did on Black Panther, and we're
Hmm.
gonna end this after one movie. You know,
Hmm.
there doesn't need to be a second one. We're gonna let his movie as Black Panther stand on its own as the masterpiece that it is, and we're gonna
Right.
do that. If they did that and we didn't see Black Panther anymore, I got you. I got it. I understand.
Yeah.
You can
I
still
mean,
tell other stories in Wakanda with other characters and
yeah.
still have them be a presence.
It's not like
Um,
there was only one black superhero. I mean, we
right,
can,
and,
they can
and
do
there's
that
other
and
black
still.
characters in Wakanda. There's a lot of stuff they can do in Wakanda.
Right.
Um, have Ryan Coogler make another movie with another black character.
Hmm.
Um, I would be I would be that. In fact, that would probably be what I would do. If I'm honest, I would probably do that.
The
So,
more
but
we
but,
talk
but I
about
don't
it,
think that's what they're going to do. They're not going to do that because there's more money in making Black Panther 2 than starting off with another character.
right? I
Unless
mean,
that character is named Storm, then there's
yeah,
more money in making Black Panther 2
yeah,
than any other black character in Marvel. So,
right. And we got to wrap up, but the one thing that they'll never be able to do, and I think the biggest challenge for them is what Chadwick Boseman himself brought to the role, and that's the sense of nobility he was able to bring. That you don't have that from a Michael B. Jordan. You don't have that from not Clark Duke. What's M'Baku's name?
oh,
Clark Duke is the little skinny kid from Hot Tub Time Machine.
yeah, he was not skinny. He was kind of chubby.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Short.
I don't know. Oh, Winston Duke.
Winston Duke. There you go. So Winston
I
Duke.
almost said
All,
Bill Duke, but Bill Duke is the guy from
from
Predator.
Predator, yeah.
From
Um,
Predator and Commando.
but yeah, I mean, there's a sense of nobility. He was a very special match for that role that I don't think they'll find anywhere else. But um, assuming that none of us are sick or the world hasn't ended, it's a really question that we have to ask before next week in this world. What are we looking at next week?
um, I don't know what is next week. Honestly, it's. I think the Broken Hearts Gallery is next week. I think that's
Hmm.
next week. It's another movie that's in theaters. I mean,
Yeah,
there are fewer and fewer of those, but I've um yeah, I think that's the one major movie that's coming out next week. Is that we got Antebellum coming out soon, but that's
right.
like in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Um,
that's 2 weeks at least, I think.
right, and my review of that is already up. It's already up on
Mhm.
punchdrunkcritics.com. So, because the embargo was like Monday or something like that.
Right.
So Antebellum with Janelle Monáe. That's one. But I don't know what else. It's gonna be slow until we get to Wonder Woman and No Time to Die, and those aren't until November.
Yeah, I can't wait for those to come out. I think No Time to Die is my next big one. I definitely want to see Tenet pretty badly, but I think No Time to
You
Die
should
is
go
the one
see.
that I would risk the theater for.
You should probably go see Tenet. You call yourself a film critic. You should probably go and see
I know.
Tenet.
I know. I just what they should have done the VOD thing. I would have definitely bought it for $40 or more. That's how dedicated I am. But until next week, you can catch us every day at punchdrunkcritics.com. On Twitter, Travis is at punchycritic. I'm at punchdrunkjohn. We are on Instagram, YouTube. Obviously, you might be watching on YouTube, Spreaker, all those good things. So check us
We
out
should
there
start
every day.
Facebook living these shows.
We should. I got to figure out the logistics of that too. Cinematics underscore slash enforcer is Travis on Twitch. If you hadn't followed him already,
Yes,
follow him
thank you,
now.
everybody. I got a whole bunch of follows this last week. I'm way over 50. Now I'm like at 54, 55 followers now. So
Nice, nice. We'll keep them rolling, folks. He'll be doing giveaways and some fun stuff on there. So check it out. So until
once I
next
hit
week, I'm John.
affiliate, once I hit
Huh?
affiliate, definitely
Yeah.
going to do some giveaways, but not until then.
Yeah. Well, we can't jump the gun. But until next week, I'm John. That's
I'm Travis.
Travis.
Out of here. Later.
We're out of here. See ya.
Overwatch time.